There are many films that are considered revolutionary, and one of these is Jaws, directed by Steven Spielberg. Originally a book by Peter Benchley, it was inspired by a news story Benchley had seen about a 4,000-pound great white shark caught off of the coast of Long Island. This triggered a fear in a lot of people, and like most people, something that bothered Benchley was the idea that this shark, in theory, could hang around a beach. This news story, combined with the general fear of sharks and the limited scientific understanding of their behavior at the time, made this rogue shark theory a popular one. Jaws portrayed a realistic encounter of a shark and piggybacked off this general fear of the unknown of sharks. Water can be a scary place for people in general, but this added creature that could swallow you whole was the biggest fear that drew in an audience. Jaws was revolutionary for its time period and essentially created the idea of a blockbuster. It did outstandingly well in theaters, earning millions more than it cost to make. In 1975, this movie created the idea of the summer blockbuster that films today try to achieve. It was a new cultural phenomenon of a fast-paced and exciting entertainment that was triggering interest and conversation outside of the theaters. This film was drastically different from others of its time, and that played a big role in its success at the time. The film industry was declining, and there wasn't a buzz for people to go out and watch movies, so there was this desire for quality content. When Jaws came out, it created such a hype that it ended up making over $260 million domestically at the box office, when at the time no movie had ever made over $100 million. This was helped with the dedication of the studio to distribute the film, as it had invested a lot of time and money into it. Universal Pictures put on an aggressive television campaign that built excitement up to the release of the movie, though it did come with its downfalls. With this film, filming was a disaster. Nothing worked. Initially, the mechanical shark broke down almost immediately after being exposed to salt water, and when using real sharks, there were issues and risks. Everything that could have possibly gone wrong with this film did, but Steven Spielberg persevered, and using different techniques of filmmaking, made this film the fear-invoking masterpiece that it is. Let's take a look at an iconic scene from the film. The background to understanding this scene is that there is already an inclination by Brody that there's something in the water attacking people, as he investigated a previous attack. In this, he is witnessing an attack occur and is telling people to get out of the water. In this scene, we see one of the shark attacks, we see the people, the panic, the blood, everything except for the shark itself. This goes back to the issue they were having filming a mechanical shark which was broken down, and a real shark which was hard to control. But we still get the feeling of fear. The scene builds suspense with the iconic sounds and chords, as we get a perspective shot of the shark going up to the girl through the water. We then are thrust into a panic, as we see her thrash and the people on the beach rush in a frenzy to get their kids out of the water. Juxtaposition is used to create this suspense, going from a light-hearted beach to an underwater shark with suspenseful music implicating the presence of a shark. This juxtaposition of the happy beach versus the vicious waters creates the fear and triggers the fight-or-flight response in the audience. This is shot through continuous editing to make it clear. The perspective shot in particular is unique, as it is almost forced on Spielberg to do due to the lack of equipment and everything going wrong in the filming process. With the perspective shot, we see the camera move as the shark is wading through the water to pick a victim. Another important camera movement that we see in this scene is the vertigo shot as Brody realizes what is occurring. This shot was made famous by Alfred Hitchcock and is used to convey the feeling of extreme fear, as Brody is experiencing in this moment as he watches the shark take a victim. The camera then pans and zooms on different people, emphasizing this idea of panic. The editing style also adds to this panic idea. Before the shark attack, the shots are longer as we see Brody sitting on the beach. During the panic, however, the cuts are shorter and quick, adding again to this sense of disarray. And as everyone leaves the water, the cuts get longer again as a realization sets in that the girl is gone, and we see her towel as an indirect implication of her death. Lighting and color also play an important role in the portrayal of this scene. The contrast in lighting pushes the idea of the water being a scary place. Normally, when we think of beaches and swimming, we imagine bright blue water, but there is a drastic difference in the lighting between the water and the beach. This portrays the idea that the beach is an open, safe place where people can see clearly any danger that might come, but the water is dark and murky, almost blinding us to what's around. We don't even see the girl clearly until we are extremely close to her legs. Color also adds in here, with the water being a dark brown color and the beach sand being a very light tan color. We also see this with her towel, which is light and yellow, representing her lightness and almost innocence as opposed to the darkness of the water which it has just come from that is soaked in blood. The most important part of this movie is the sound. These irregular minor chords trigger the same instinctual response a mama marmot feels when her babies are threatened. This was really important to filmmakers as this really changed the way sound is used in film. The first half of the film uses this score to kind of warn the audience of an impending danger of a shark. Later on, it heightens the suspense of the attacking creature, using the music to set the crowd up. The legacy of this film is carried out today as well, with new directors like Jordan Peele using it as inspiration for films. In an interview, Peele told USA Today, "The most beautiful revelation with Jaws was the audience's imagination is far more powerful than what you show them. It changes the way we think of how to tell the story of a monster." It is a similar deal with Get Out, in which the real monster is something invisible but omnipresent: racism. The invisibility of the shark was copied by other filmmakers, though for Steven Spielberg it was out of pure necessity, using point of view shots of the shark's theme to establish its presence. The Atlantic asked the big question: what was the most influential film in history? And Tim Cox of Chicago, Illinois responded, "Jaws, the first summer blockbuster, changed the business of filmmaking, gave us an iconic score, and continues to make us fearful of ocean swimming even though we know better." And I completely agree with this. Jaws was truly an influential film and will forever hold its place as the first blockbuster, a movie that changed the industry and essentially revived it in 1975.